Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to talk today about sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. So sedimentary rocks are formed from both igneous and metamorphic rocks, and actually even other sedimentary rocks can become different sedimentary rocks when they're broken down into sediment. So sediments are loose materials such as rock fragments and mineral grains that have been moved by the agents of erosion, such as wind, water, ice, or gravity. Sedimentary rocks can also form from a solution through the evaporation or precipitation. So all sedimentary rocks often form in layers, with the oldest layer being on the bottom because it was deposited first. For each sedimentation event, larger particles settle out first. Why? Well, they settle out first because they require more energy to move. So if the water speed decreases or the wind speed decreases, the larger particles will drop out first. So compaction and cementation. Erosion moves sediment to a new location where they're deposited. Here, layer upon layer of sediments build up. The pressure from the upper layers will then push down on the lower layers. If the sediments are small enough, they can form solid rock. So small particles such as sand, silt, and clay can actually stick together to form a solid rock, just by pressure alone. If they're bigger than sand, they have to undergo a secondary process known as cementation. If the sediments are large like pebbles, they can not stick by pressure alone. So cementation occurs when water soaks through the soil and the rock. The water picks up minerals that can dissolve in rock. That water then pools in another location, and the resulting solution, when it evaporates, creates a natural cement that holds the minerals together, like a natural glue. There are three types of sedimentary rocks. The first type is detrital. They're fragments of other rock. So they're loose sediments that are compacted and cemented together to form rocks. And they're basically named based upon their texture, and they're organized based upon their sediment size. So you can have ones that are bigger than 2 millimeters, which form a gravel type of sedimentary rock, which is this one right here. And then you can also have one that is sand, which is a little bit smaller, which is this one. And then you can get even finer to silt, and finally to clay. And those all are based typically just on the particle size. Then the second type of sedimentary rock is a chemical sedimentary rock. These are formed when dissolved minerals come out of solution. They're typically found in areas where water was once prominent, so lakes, rivers, and even ancient oceans. They often contain the mineral calcite, and a common example of a chemical sedimentary rock is limestone. And it's found in the bedrock of many parts of the United States because of much of the United States interior was once covered by a shallow ocean. The third type of sedimentary rocks is organic sedimentary rocks. These are made of the remains of once living things. So when animals or plants die, their body and matter accumulate, they're buried, and they're compacted and cemented together. Organic sedimentary rocks typically happen in areas of low oxygen, so swamps and wetlands is where you typically will find areas of peat, coal, and other types of organic sedimentary rocks. Another example is chalk, which is a marine microorganism that has been left behind as shallow oceans have disappeared. Now we're going to get into metamorphic rocks. These rocks are changed by heat and pressure that happen deep into the Earth's surface. Metamorphic rocks can form from igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, or other metamorphic rocks. Rocks beneath the Earth's surface are under a great deal of pressure from the rocks that are above them. The pressure also increases with depth inside the Earth. In some places, the temperature is high enough to actually make rocks melt, which eventually will form igneous rocks. In other areas, the mineral grains can change by dissolving and recrystallizing. Depending on temperature and pressure, one rock type can change into several other types of metamorphic rock. There are 4 types of metamorphism. There's cataclysmic, which is due to plate motion. It actually happens during transform boundaries when plates are sliding past each other. The second type is burial metamorphism. This one's more common. It's when sedimentary rocks are buried to a very deep depth, the temperature is high, the pressure is high, and it changes the structure of the rock. Then you have contact metamorphism, in which you have a rock and an intrusion of magma coming up from below That heat from the magma intrusion changes the surrounding rock. And then the fourth type is regional metamorphism. This occurs over a large area where rocks are compressed, typically due to plate movement. So as two plates come together and collide, you have result in the folded rock. There are two types of metamorphic rock, or two classes. There's foliated metamorphic rocks. This is when mineral grains flatten up into parallel layers, and the layers are perpendicular to the direction of pressure. So think about taking a piece of paper and pushing it at either end. If you push it at either end, the paper will actually fold in perpendicular to the direction of pressure. This gives you a folded metamorphic rock. The interesting thing about metamorphic rocks is that the minerals are pressed so tightly together that water can't pass through them. So a good example of metamorphic rocks are things like slate. They're used as a building material because they are waterproof. An example of a non-foliated metamorphic rock is when they don't have layering occurring. This would typically happen with a contact metamorphism. Marble is a great example of a non-foliated metamorphic rock. So in this last slide here, you have two images of what is a foliated metamorphic rock, which is the one on the left. And then typically you can see there the ribbon-like layers. And then on the right, you have the non-foliated rock, which gives you the more of the frosted look of the rock. So it doesn't have layers, it has big mineral grains. So that's all we have for today for sedimentary metamorphic rocks. I will talk to you again soon. Take care.